Hello everyone and welcome on back to some WSSEA action here on the LandFest stream with some Smash coming right at you where we can bash the rest of the best and see who ends up putting themselves to the test. D'Lo here behind the mic, joined by my friend Anthony Malum here in the booth, of course.
I forgot you look. I always forget you look at me and then I turn and I get freaked out.
I always want to make sure it's rapport building. Almighty eyes in the sky, Connie Console as well.
I'm not looking at a curtain, I'm looking at you.
Fair enough. And Taylor making sure to keep things steady. And you, watching at home, Malum, first time on the WSSEA stream, first time for Smash in a bit. How you feeling?
I'm feeling excited. I mean, how could I not be? This is one of my favorite styles of esports, the cast, and with you specifically, we've had a long time of experience of getting to cast competitive esports, but of this particular brand that always brings us our most exciting games and our best memories, I feel. So what a perfect chance to start. Good day, good dinner, good mood, great team. What more can you ask for?
Great shirt as well. You're looking just
thank you. See,
fantastic.
And you're already making me feel welcome. Yeah, well, lack of cut. It's going. I'm trying to be more like
great.
you.
Good luck with that one, man. I mean, listen.
I get the curls.
It's a tough wrap, but had to shave off, so Anthony can take my place in that respect. But we got two teams up here in the race. We have Walla on one side, we have Colville on the other. Two team members are already ready and slated off for the fight. It's going to be our friend Apex on the side of Walla up against Depp. But before we even get into all that noise, we want to make sure we talk about our friends that are kind of watching on over us, making sure this broadcast is possible. Our friends over at Zotac Gaming. Hey everyone, we want to give a huge shout out to Zotac Gaming for powering today's stream. Thanks to their incredible support, we're able to bring this broadcast to all of you, helping to showcase the amazing talent in Scholastic Esports. You can show your appreciation for Zotac Gaming by giving them a shout out on social media. Make sure to join their community on the Discord. Don't forget to use the hashtag powered by Zotac or hashtag ZotacUSA when you post.
The big Zotac graphics card in the sky. That's the most important aspect. It showed in that intro reel. Theo, I'm first of all, you can't get better names for your first cast than Walla and Colville.
Yeah.
That's unbeatable. But just to actually get to sort of take in the action, it's going to be a lot to take in at once, a lot to break down. I'm trying to find that perfect balance point of where to set myself up for getting to watch this kind of between the caster who's just excited and wants to see how talented the players are versus that like, okay, let's walk everybody through slowly. Let's keep the viewers up to date. It's going to be hard not to get distracted with this one and kind of just too excited for myself.
Well, it's going to be a flashy fight to start things off. It's Captain Falcon up against the Byleth, which means it's distance player versus big bad brawler on this Falcon. You know, Byleth, of course, having those disjoints, those sword attacks, as well as the big bad Aerobard. It's going to make sure Falcon's job is a bit more difficult trying to get in, but do keep in mind, Anthony. Wow, parry to start things off. That's kind of crazy. Keep in mind, first matchup means these are the lower skilled players, so it's not necessarily going to be about the tier list. It's more so just about which low pick is a bit better.
But the big thing, too, that you have to look out for, and this is something that you and I have learned as time has gone on for sure, is even when it's the lower-tiered players, every now and again they sneak out a mechanic on you. You've already seen the attempts of it, trying to break out of those shields timing-wise, just to try to make that play happen.
I mean, I can tell you that from experience, the fact that I'm starting to teach an esports team of my own as a public school teacher, and sometimes these particular kids, they'll learn one combo because they haven't quite grasped the fundamentals of Smash Bros. We can see that right now. We're seeing a lot of special moves be used here, and that's very typical of any new player to Smash Bros. But that right there is a bit more advanced. The up-tilt spike at ledge. Okay, Walla, you know Balla.
I feel like the bait in that we saw there from the Falcon, I kind of fell for the same exact thing, that sort of, I'm on the edge, come get me, take me down, but then all of a sudden the turnaround. I liked the use of the shield to set it up to you. I feel like that slowed the pace and really set up that combo.
This tells me already that this Captain Falcon kind of, as far as on paper, is understanding the fundamentals. You're seeing these grabs, you're seeing more aerials, whereas this Byleth using a lot more of that B button. Again, very typical, but it's a detriment to you. That back air, though. Ransom some reprieve. Going off stage with a down B, though. Maybe a bit overzealous. Hubris, Anthony. It's the fall of us all.
It is. Hubris can just be a killer in these situations, but hey, that's why you've got a lot of room to work with, and eventually maybe Raptor can find some footing to get things comfortable. You didn't spend a lot of time in that slow burn building up, but now maybe you can get some footing, get comfortable. But you mentioned it, just the ground game, the air game, it's all under control so far for Wahai.
I mean, Apex right now, the player of Walla, showing that they are indeed the apex predator. A Falcon is on the top of the food chain, and unfortunately, Byleth's at the bottom. Once again, these down Bs off stage just going to pay back some unfortunate dividends. Luckily, though, Anthony, each of these matchups is a best of 3. So this Byleth, their name being Depp, if I'm not mistaken, for Colville, they have a chance at redemption. Hopefully, they can make some mid-series adaptations.
I feel like it's definitely possible. I think one thing that you could capitalize on, and this is something you and I were talking about sort of just in the pre-gaming for this, is if you see somebody who has more deliberate, slow pace of play, it's a little bit easier to adjust to what they're saying. And to your previous point, if you're learning a combo, you're trying to get better, and you've learned your thing that makes you succeed in a game. You know, let's keep it as simple as can be. Maybe you're like me, and the most you can do is jab, 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 jab until something positive happens. If that's what you can do, the unfortunate other side of that is that's what your opponent can look for too, is, okay, he's just going to jab at me, and I can just jump over Malum's head and handle it from there. And we saw some attempts on that to try to get the better of the Captain Falcon, but unfortunately there was just too much control there in that slow pacing.
In a sense, it's what you mentioned just now. If you see something work, just do it again. We saw that back air come down landing from the Byleth, and it knocked Captain Falcon off stage. I think that was the only time Depp ever got stage control, so if that worked, do it again. These very long wind-up down Bs, they're not finding the mark. I don't think a single one has actually found anything but a shield, and it was a parry at the very beginning. So clearly Apex understands how to respond to these kind of slow, sluggish, big, fat hitting moves. Instead, go for something a bit more quick, like a down air. That's a solid start. Now what can you do to follow up?
I was just going to say that. It seems like Apex really came out of the gate swinging, but there's the turnaround we were looking for as Depp figures it out and gets a strong start.
That's fantastic. The fact that he got that sweet spot on the forward smash, excellent turnaround. And again, mid-series adaptations. That's what makes any young esports player from good to great. Unfortunately, that up-tilt spike from the Captain Falcon once again going to hit him with the heal and bring him down to heal. It's one stock down apiece.
It's like good old hubris. You finally get that advantage, but you can't rest on your laurels. You can't get comfortable. And we're kind of seeing that here from Depp, bringing out different moves, but I still feel like you need a little more. Here's that shield play we saw earlier coming out, and that time getting the better of it is Depp, but is it enough?
No, unfortunately, the punish wasn't there. They had the shield break, but maybe not quite sure what to do afterwards. Another down B, that would have been the stock, but I gotta say I'm very surprised from Apex to kind of just sit and shield. You know this move breaks it, and this time, there's the adaptation. They jump right on over and find the grab.
Apex now getting back comfortable in the position we saw earlier. This is the exact pace that Apex wants, and you can see it. Just can camp it out there and watch that one go down, looking as strong as they did in the first game.
Yeah, we're starting to unfortunately find ourselves back in the doldrums. Great Raptor boost into double up air. They do lose stage control, but quickly regain center stage with that Falcon kick. I like the fact that we're seeing some grabs, but again, just Byleth's aerial game is actually one of their kind of shining stars, and the fact that we're not seeing enough of those A buttons be pressed. It's a lot more Bs, but there we go. Showing that we know there are A buttons there. The question is it too late?
That's what I was just going to ask you, is that we're seeing so much use of the shield and positioning coming out from Apex. Maybe, just maybe, there'd be something to adjust for, but Apex shuts any plan of that right down.
Captain Falcon punch. Great way to end things off. You know, Captain Falcon's got some big, bad B moves of their own. Just utilized a bit better. Unfortunate. But I did like the fact that we at the very least saw some adaptations. We saw that Depp was capable of making some strides forward. Even though they don't take the fight, they don't take the series, that right there shows me potential for growth, potential for improvement, and that's all you can hope for as a young esports athlete themselves. So Walla going to take that first match, but the format means, Anthony, that these first matchups, they mean something. They can certainly stack up in the long run, but they're not as valuable as the matchups at the top. That pressure really lies up the ladder. Heavy lies the crown.
Yeah, and you have that time to get comfortable too. That's kind of the other aspect of it, right? It's always nerve-wracking to be that first person playing. It's like in any sport when you're the first one to take the shot, the first one to step up to the plate. It kind of gets in your head. You've got to be that first one to swing at the bad pitch before you can get a little more comfortable out there. One thing that I kind of was hoping, and I was actually about to start saying, going off of your point, I feel like there was a little bit of a. And maybe this has to do with the tier, but it seems like the shields and kind of the timing of it was really getting the better of Depp. How effective, I guess it would be very character dependent, how effective would it have been there to focus on grabs and trying to change up the pace and the tempo of play and sort of take that speed back and take that tempo back if you were Depp?
It absolutely would have been a great adjustment, and I think we saw a tiny bit of that. There were some whiff grabs actually coming out from Depp near the end, and I think it's because they conditioned their opponent Apex to shield so much, because if you're going to use those big, slow, kind of silly attacks there, like the air bar, like the down B, naturally the response is shield, because I know that you're not going to try to grab me. I have nothing to fear if I just hold shield the entire time. But once you've conditioned your opponent to do that, yeah, if you've set a pattern, kind of break the mold. Start off with those grabs and throws, especially since Byleth has a pretty solid throw game. But no longer those characters, they're in the past. The future is Lucario and Ridley.
Let's find out who takes control early of that neutral, who comes out of the gate swinging. That was the key in the previous game, right? Set your tone, get your tempo rolling, and dictate how the stage plays out. And so far, the Lucario is definitely trying to make the plays happen, but can't land a hit yet.
Well, the thing about a Lucario is, Anthony, anytime you hit him, you're just loading more bullets into the chamber. Lucario operates off of the aura mechanic, which means that alongside Rage, any damage you do to him only augments his power forthright. Stacking that on top of the natural Rage mechanic that every character has access to, if this Lucario gets to about 100% and this Ridley can't find the kill, it's going to get immensely more scary, immensely more quickly.
Yeah, you can see Tinfoil Man definitely trying to do just that, continue to aura farm out and get that first real bit of dominance, but I love the dancing you're causing here, making them uncomfortable, setting yourself up to be able to make that big play. I mean, we've been stuck in the same repeat for so long, but finally there's an answer back from Walla Walla.
Space Pirate Rush alongside the dash attack. These extreme speeds are a bit risky because the Ridley's going to instantly catch up. Down throw sends him up, but can't quite chase him. And it's actually going to be a force palm in response. 100% has been reached. The threshold's been acquired. Now Ridley's in danger.
YBG comes back down. Are you still in that danger? Just can't get comfortable footing up against Tinfoil Man now. The step up, the step down. Now you're stuck on the ledge. Where do you have to go? Up into the air and down you go.
Nice. That's a massive sigh of relief there for the Ridley. You never want to let a Lucario live for longer than 100%. Your goal as a Ridley, and you have some good tools to do so, get these kills off early. It doesn't matter the speed. It more so just matters at what percent, because the longer you let a Lucario stand with all that aura farmed up, the more dangerous it becomes. Now Ridley's at Rage as well, and Lucario at this low percent doesn't have the easiest means of finding kill confirms. So as long as he can stack up some solid extra credit, if you're YBG, you're feeling good.
Looks like maybe there was a bit of a plan there from Tinfoil Man, but ends up finding it anyway on the other side of things, making it real difficult right now for YPG to get anything going. Maybe you have it here, you finally have an angle, but that percentage is getting high, D-Lo, and look, you don't need to be an expert to know that that's frightening.
Neutral air upon neutral air. That's Ridley's game. Anytime you see him spin in a circle, you know they're doing the right thing. That shows me, again, that Walla Walla knows Bala Bala. It's one of the fundamentals of this character's neutral game. Doing a solid job with the forwarders as well. Finds the reverse back air off the platform, too. At 169, this dragon cannot die.
That's that control of tempo that we talked about. Even though it's felt kind of as if Walla Walla's been on the defense this whole time. The best defense is a good offense, evidently. And left side, strong side, but finally a hit to handle. The percentage just got too high, Dio. No matter how strong of a game you've had, eventually you've got to go, right?
Yes, you do, but Ridley's got two more stocks to play with. Goes for a disrespectful down air. The stall and fall ends up with their life. Anthony, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This very well could be the beginning of Walla Walla falling to their own hubris.
What about the Bala Bala you talked about? Surely we just get our handle on the dribble and put things away. Maybe a dunk will do it off to the side. Now you set up comfortable, but right over top and gets caught again. Is this the one?
Lucario needs to stop recovering to extreme speed to center stage. They need to go to ledge. Ledge is way safer, even though it feels scary to recover against it. The big bad boot to the face, and that's going to be Raptor erased. First game goes to YBG for Walla Walla.
You called it. You said you got to go left, you got to go left. You can't go center. Left side, strong side. In that case, center side, erased side. And that gives an advantage away, which it felt like there were so many moments where the game was understood by Colville, but Walla Walla said, okay, that's fine. My game plan seems to be ironclad. Go ahead, you try to figure out a way around it. And that simply wasn't an option for Colville that time.
Yeah, YBG is doing a really solid job of controlling the stage and not allowing this Lucario to really find their footing, which is frustrating because Lucario's got some pretty solid normals to operate with when they have tempo. But the issue is the ledge is, I think a lot of times, again, for newer players, is kind of thought of as a death zone, an immediate death trap. But the reality is you have a lot of options from ledge. You can roll back up. You can attack, understandably so. And again, something that I, as someone trying to teach an esports team, and these young esports athletes, as people trying to understand the game, need to recognize is the ledge is sometimes the safest place to go. It might be scary if you see a big, bad murder dragon standing at the edge, licking his lips, but the reality is it actually might be your best option. So if you're going to extreme speed back, make sure it's to a spot where you have invulnerability, rather than a place where you can get easily dash attacked by the Ridley.
I mean, you taught me the same thing the time we played this in person, and I got to also add to it. It's like the Hobbit said: the closer you are to danger, the further you are from harm. It kind of applies to that mindset that you're talking about, with being able to control the ledge versus just getting stuck in center. But once again, Tinfoil Man finding themselves stuck and unable to get anything going early on, and that's the advantage that we've already seen Walla Walla take so far. Is this another one? Oh yeah, it is. What a great start.
Unfortunate SD there. They tried to follow my advice by going for Ledger. Maybe, in fact, they're just allergic to it as they swerved away a bit.
Yeah, they were looking for
early
the monkey bars underneath.
Not there, buddy. Wrong map. PS2 doesn't have those. We had to remove them for safety regulation purposes. Now the up tilt dribbles begin. Doesn't find the neutral or follow-up, but nonetheless, you have a full stock of extra credit already. Granted, Lucario is one of the best comeback characters there are, so if we're able to stack up some aura and stack up some damage, things could turn the way of Colville.
Yeah, the recess insurance doesn't cover the Mr. Mankey bars.
I
was proud of that one. Thank you. That was for you.
That one in the back pocket.
I figured you would. Nothing I say is ever safe. Kind of like the situation for Tinfoil Man, D'Lo.
Agreed. 117 does not feel good, especially the extreme speed back to center stage again. They don't follow our advice, but they don't get paid back for it this time. And even though you don't get paid back for it, does not make it a good decision. And I hope that they don't feel that way about it. But instead, they just decide to drift themselves into the abyss. They certainly did not need to die for that, Anthony. But maybe that was just a case of downward spirits, or maybe just
that last play, it looked like a pendulum where you're doing that same thing back and forth over top, and it got to the point where it looked like the player here from Walla Walla was just waiting and saying, all right, I'll just bonk you on the way back, and that one's going to be a tough end and just a quick victory for Walla Walla.
That is unfortunate. Tinfoil Man there taking 2 SDs. An issue we've actually seen now across all of Colville's players so far is just an inability to recover safely. And again, it's a fundamental issue. That is something that, as a new Smash player, you need to make sure that you are understanding, which is how to save your resources, how to properly expend them. If I have a jump, when am I using that to get back to stage? When am I going to be mashing up B? In that case, we just kind of saw neither one happening there. So an unfortunate 2-0 this time, once again, to Walla Walla. Coming up next will be the Sledgehammer on the side of Walla Walla up against Colville's the Chickenator. What do you think wins in a battle between a Sledgehammer and a chicken, Anthony?
What do I think win? Well, what side of the road are we on?
That's a good point, actually. Left side. Strong side.
Left side, strong side. In that case, I got to go Sledgehammer. I will say, though, contingency plan, if this is before the cane sauce, the Sledgehammer might not have an interest. There's a lot of layers to this. We could go really deep with this discussion.
That's a faar point. The Bojangle sauce on top, and now, hold on a second.
Yes, the Bojangle sauce on top.
Wait a second. This might not be a chicken, but it's certainly a bird of a different form. Penguin. Penguin with Bojangle sauce? Your thoughts?
I would. 100%.
Awesome. Well, I gotta tell you, I would not like this match with Humble King DDD. This is one of the bottom 1 characters in all of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. However, that's only the case if you know how to play against him. The reality is a lot of lower-tiered players might not understand quite how to fight a back. But I'm seeing it right here. They do. Just hit back those spike balls. Unfortunately, instead, you eat the mallet, you eat the dash attack, too.
Seems like a good setup as well against the Lucario, who we've already seen so far really takes a slow burn to set up and get comfortable. And this time, it's just going to be taken advantage of by the Sledgehammer doing just that, bonking away.
The Chickenator just kind of experiencing the exact same doldrum we've seen of all Colville players so far. Just inability to recover. They had the extreme speed. They could have used it, but they elect not to. And it's throwing me for a bit of a loop. I'm not going to lie to you, Malum. I think we really need to make sure that we're playing for our life. Damage is important, sure, but you have to keep stocks to do it.
It really feels like the Sledgehammer is just making the stage feel even smaller and tighter to work in than it actually is for the Chickenator. I don't know how you break around that, but certainly not the way you want to start out. That's another stock gone.
Another SD and extreme speed off the Angel platform. They use that vulnerability.
Oh, no.
Can they recover back this time? Okay, yeah, I was about to say, don't go off stage. If you know that your strength is not in recovery, there is no reason to not have your feet on terra firma. Just stay with your feet firmly planted, please.
Now dominating the center, which is kind of a stark contrast to the previous game, is the Sledgehammer, but you can maybe understand why this Lucario, we talked about being stuck within this space, having no room to work, gets comboed and sent away. I salute you, my friend. We'll see you in the stratosphere.
Up air to finish it all off. Sledgehammer. You know what, I will say, the Chickenator or the Sledgehammer, they would both make sense for this character. They do got the big mallet after all. And again, this Lucario can certainly play against this. You can take some damage and you can deal it back with the aura. But the issue is King DDD, as a character with such heavy-hitting moves, Malum, it can be very easy to take a stock at 50, 60, 70% before the aura even really becomes a factor. So it makes it even more unlikely for them to be able to get much done. That being said, we are getting a note here, some word from the street, some word from the boxing ring, The Colville player selected the wrong character. That is unfortunate and certainly explains why they didn't quite have their sea legs.
Yeah, you could see that, and that explains why it felt like the stage was being made to be so small. Because if you're not comfortable in what you're trying to figure out, how on earth are you going to get through somebody who's swinging for so much damage, even if it is slower? And as you've mentioned already, just because it seems like somebody's making slower movements and you might see it higher tier play, that's because they're comfortable in exactly what they're trying to accomplish with the character they are playing. So if you're seeing that, it's just a level of, all right, this is what I'm going to do. You can try to figure it out, or I win today.
Whoa, cannon matchup, and also my favorite character is on the field. I'm happy. A lot of inhales here.
Should I just sit down now? Should I just let you? Should I let you go on this one?
you can head out, buddy. You can hop out the VC. You've done your job. Good work. Great cast. Anywho, Kirby, let's see how this one goes. The first match is still being counted, so nonetheless we are batting from a disadvantage as Colville. And also, you just got hit by a hammer and the body of this penguin and a spike ball, so Kirby's not feeling the best.
Yeah, a bit of a tough go-around to start things off, but already looking to see if they're trying what you've been talking about today, and that's sticking closer to the ledge and trying to establish some control there. Maybe that is going to be the case so far for the Walla player, and it's working out a little bit better. A slow start, but starting to burn into something cleaner. Maybe trying to take advantage of the air. You talked about that too, D'Lo.
I just don't want us to see us spam this down B. I've got 3 Kirby players at my school, and they all love it, and I get it, but it's so punishable. That the stone move. Everyone knows it from when they're a kid. I used it. I abused it. I'm by no means an angel, but
I
it's
think that's how I've won all the games I've won.
Of course. No, it's understandable. It's so appealing, but against a player who has a command grab like King DDD with that inhale, they can easily pull you out of it, or some of the hits from King DDD are strong enough to actually disrupt the invulnerability and just kill you outright. So first stock, still have it, but gotta be careful. 120 is by no means safe for Kerbals, especially if you take a spike ball to the back.
I'm so impressed so far by the big thing you talked about that I really took note of, that I wrote down in my brain, was watch for that ledge control in these earlier sort of lower tier games, and it seems like that's been a perfect description of what dominates it so far. But maybe this time Walla can get a little bit more comfortable, take advantage of having that fresh start, but no, instead could get caught out.
Just too much damage here from King DDD, and no kill confirms from this Kirby. I mean, there are options to take him down at 96 or sub 100, but oftentimes it comes down to confirms such as forward air landing into forward smash, and that's just not something that a player of this caliber might have that knowledge of. You see right there, they use that down B, but they instantly get knocked out by the F tilt. And this King DDD is actually trying to approach, maybe trying to bait it out, in fact, Anthony, to try to find a hefty punish afterwards.
I've noticed that. It almost seems like they're doing that step back, wait to watch, and that's why. Pop, pop.
They released them. I didn't know that's a combo. Release from inhale into up tilt. Are they doing it again? That is genuinely brilliant.
Hey, why are you writing that down? Who are you going to use that against?
No one. King DDD is still a terrible character. Absolutely no one. But I will note that before I play against this character. Listen, this is still nonetheless very impressive player so far for Walla. And the question is, can anything be done to stop Sledgehammer? Oh, dear God. Thank God. But not the SD.
No, you had it. Back. You had it. We saw the self-sabotage at that, and it still somehow works out.
Just the Intimidator bonus, Malum, I suppose. Sledgehammer's too scary.
Yeah, shout out Dale Earnhardt, you know.
Like you predicted, man, the Sledgehammer wins the cannon matchup.
Hey, sometimes you just got to hit a chicken until it pops, and that was the case there. The Chickenator goes pop to the Sledgehammer.
There it goes. If you're looking at the notes there for what you can do against that King DDD, that was too grotesque, Anthony. Come on, this is a school channel. This is
I thought it was gentle, you know?
For the chicken, I don't think so. They would disagree.
That's true.
Up on the street, we have player you. You, as in you, watching at home. Thank you for that. And Daniel. So kind of toning it down there in terms of the silliness, but that makes sense. As we further ascend up the ranks, it's all getting serious. It's all
I've been looking forward to this part.
Business.
Got me rubbing my hands in excitement.
So that means we're in the semifinals, technically. That being said, Walla, I do believe if they take this one, that is completely kaput. That means that they will have a clean sweep at it, because the points have already stacked up in their favor to the point where it would be insurmountable. Nonetheless, we always do make sure to see all of the teams play. So let's find out. It's a villager, a little happy pink-dressed girl up against the murder demon angel themselves, Sephiroth.
3, 2,
I've been looking for. I was hoping I'd get to see a Sephiroth play, one of my favorite characters to exist. Every time I've played this with the friends, lock it in. I always lock it in myself and then kind of stumble around and figure it out. I kind of looked like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Tough start, but we recover. We regain.
Hopefully, let's see. Again, I'm curious if they utilize more than just the smash attacks that I'm seeing so far. And right now, it's just been kind of a lot of bullying because this villager clearly knows how to utilize their tools. That slingshot is what you're going to see a lot of, Malum. It's an amazing, very quick projectile that not only spaces, but combos into itself.
Good read that time. You can see some decent movement there, but just unable to get comfortable for Colville. And now looking a little stuck on the ledge. Here's that ledge dominance you were looking for, D'Lo, for the majority of today, and it's a quick one at that.
Easy edge guard because the Sephiroth just doesn't quite know what to do up against a villager. You have to make sure to get in close and use your aerials. Use your forward air. It's a great spacing tool. Interrupts the Octo Slash to finish off the job. What an amazing gimp. Only taking 50%. That is some deadly work coming out here from Walla Walla.
Looks so sweet, but not exactly innocent after a game like that. That was such clean play. You told me to watch out for that jump as we went further and further up the tiers, but that was as clear and crisp as it can get just already. But it's funny. Sometimes you say the same thing a million times, and it could be the definition of insanity, or it could just be pure accurate. And it feels like so far tonight, the theme, our mini meta, has been: can you get comfortable out of the gates, or do you just get stuck wearing, cinder blocks around your ankles and you just get stuck in the mud? And it feels like a lot of players tonight can't come out of the gates getting comfortable. And if you can start getting your combos off, establish, as you've talked about, the ledge dominance, that's where your game plan really comes into effect.
Yeah, Walla Walla are doing an amazing job of exploiting what seems to be a hole across kind of all the Colville players we've seen so far, which is recovery. They're really struggling in reliably getting back the ledge without losing a lot of extra percent.
So let's tap into the esports professor in you. What's the play around that? What's the suggestion as you get bonked around and unable to get back comfortable, just like this first stock? What's the fix to that? What's the thing you work on? What's the homework?
A bad instinct that a lot of players have is out of hit stun, they jump. And your jump is your most reliable resource, just period. You only get one of them, and once you land back, that's when you get it back. But look right there. They did not jump. This villager just decided to sink down so they could use a rising forward air jump instead. They did SD afterwards, which makes me look really bad, but they had at least the fundamentals, the makings of what is a good recovery, which is to save your resources. Don't panic. Always keep a cool head. And right now, Sephiroth, they used their jump, so they didn't have any way back.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but that doesn't mean you make every shot you do take, is sort of the combination and the rule of thumb there, it feels like. And right now, just getting stuck, again, at that edge, but maybe taking advantage of that one SD, that one mistake that we saw is the time to do it, but instead it's going to be a jab combo right after.
Dude, the body shots to Sephiroth,
That's
every
tough.
jab from a villager is a body shot. They're just going to work on his abdominals. Now, to be fair, I don't know if you see the shirtless skins that Sephiroth has in this game, but he's ripped down there, so I'm sure he's
all
just
the
taking
bruises are from the villager,
trade.
just to take note of.
Yes! Oh, they might be from the bowling ball to the head, too. An amazing 2-0 sweep there from Walla Walla.
All of a sudden, Sephiroth's laying back and has the Chickenator circling around his head as he sees stars and is a little bit dizzied up. What a win there.
Yeah, there's no exercise that really helps you out with just cranial trauma, like a bowling ball to the skull. But nonetheless, Walla Walla, with that game, they will in fact take the series. That does not, however, mean we are finished. We still have the peak, the pinnacle, the fifth players coming up the top of the food chain.
I'm excited for this one. Ever since you gave me this rundown for my first experience here, this is the one that I've been looking forward to. Just getting to see mechanics that go beyond my understanding and my capability to comprehend of this game. That's all I can ask for. That's all the entertainment I could ever hope for.
It's Hogwash up against Lightning Asher, so we're back on the silly side of things, which I'm grateful for personally.
Yeah.
Now, this,
great name.
once again, is not going to be a match in terms of stakes for the series itself, but it's stakes in the sense that Colville's been having a rough go of it. They haven't gotten a single game off their opponents, despite some kind of kooky plays at times from Walla Walla. I really want to see Colville take one, just for the sake of making things a bit more competitive, making things a bit more interesting. Walla Walla, no Balla Balla, they've already proven it, so let's see if Colville can call their bluff.
I'm with you on that. Just to be Colville here and be able to kind of step up and show we do know how to play this game. We've had some unlucky starts, but here's our champion. We bring them out. Watch what they can do against you. It can feel really good. It can also be a really good chance. We've been talking about how to improve, how to look back on things. To have a game where somebody from your school can be dominant here and make that difference, that could be really strong because that sets you up something to look back at. That's your own player. You're not just looking back at the negatives and the mistakes. You're looking back at the strengths and the positives of your ringer.
Well, we got the dead ringers here. The two big heavy boys. I like this. This is going to be once again the return of the Chicken/Penguin, now fighting for the side of Colville, and the DK. So,
see, you were nicer than me. I was going to say that looked like you and I post Bojangles.
Honestly, true, man. I said some Chipotle earlier. I'm feeling pretty.
That sounds delicious.
Myself.
My go-to tonight was Japanese.
I respect it. Sushi?
See, I wish. I was feeling hibachi.
Nah, nothing wrong with that, my friend. Let's see if we can toss this onion in the volcano, toss this Donkey Kong into the abyss. Unsafe forwarder, clanks against the shield, and already I'm starting to see what we have not gotten to see so far, which is some careful combo play, some recognition of the strengths of King DDD's character in comparison to DK, which is going to be that they have disjoints on these aerials. They can space things out, whereas this DK from Walla maybe a bit overzealous. I'm seeing a lot of these spinning Kongs, these up Bs, and that move can be very easily punished.
The part that always impresses me the most that I still can't fully comprehend is being able to take the read of when to properly use that combination to instantly come out of your shield, but instead instantly set out of the game. Is Walla still standing strong? Is Colville in this instance? And we talked about this. You want to come out of the gates and swing hard.
Lightning Asher trying to get them off to a hot start, and that feels really good. I think this is the first time we've seen so far Colville even have a stock lead, so good indication. And now you get up some solid extra credit. They try to go with the reversed inhale, and it actually works out pretty well. Unfortunately for Walla, just a bit too eager at the bit. 124, I will say, for King DDD does not mean they'll still be dead. They are quite the big boy after all, so this DK is going to have to rely on maybe some more unorthodox means of finding a kill, though that cargo throw is always a solid option. At 97% though, another amazing read at ledge. This down smash is getting so much mileage.
I was just going to ask you if there's some way to kind of utilize this attempt of using the ledge and that platform to just make the DK feel uncomfortable. But right as I was going to ask it seems like we see that Colville don't care. They do go down one, but that was to be expected with how high that percentage had gone. It feels like they have such an understanding of how to keep the pressure on in this instance that there's no way for anyone else to get a footing.
Harry comes out there from the DK. Down airs upon down airs. We're seeing a lot of that, which definitely can be punished in the future. I'd like to see us landing with more safe aerials, especially if you're this DK who's already down behind. Good shield play. And the grab, like you said, inevitability is the thing that DK has definitely got on their side in the sense that once you reach this 170% as this King DDD, wow, an amazing berry up smash to even up the stocks, that cargo throw will instantly mean their end. That being said, the Jet Hammer starts to charge up, but gets interrupted.
Now you found your way. You've got them on the back foot, seemingly. You can just get control, but instead get stuck center. And now running out of plays. You talked about trying to get inventive, to get some kind of play working. Now you're in the danger zone. Can you get away from it? Maybe not.
Stop jet hammering, please. This King DDD has got to stop using that down B. It's too risky. You're playing with your last stock. You're playing with not only that, but the pride of your entire team. Just get one game off, and then we can get silly with it. The forward smash, but it gets red, and the giant punch super armors right through it.
On the ledge, is this the answer? Do you finally have them pinned down? Maybe you've got the control.
The Dordo actually saves him, and then one more in the chamber finishes the job. Colville finally get one up over Walla.
Not to say we called it, but it seems like we were feeling it at least. Lightning Asher was the answer in what was needed for Colville, just to show what they're able to bring when the going gets tough. That was so clean in so many ways. I really liked, we're talking about all these little things kind of as we got through the higher and higher tiers, or the lower tiers to the higher tiers. But what really stood out to me there was it felt like 80% of that game was spent between the platform and the ledge, kind of controlling, okay, you're stuck here. I'm not going to rush. I'm not going to force myself to make a mistake here. I'm going to let you work your way into a mistake now that you think you have the high ground in this instance. And you talked about this need to look for some more play from the aerials, not rely on that down smash, but instead you got stuck in a position where that was all you could do.
In the case of the DDD, you're using a down smash quite gosh darn well at ledge. So I'm glad to see them only... They have a restraint, though. They're only really utilizing it at the ledge when they have the time to charge it up and let it rip. Beyond that, it is a lot of aerial play from both these two. I do think the DK is maybe being a bit overzealous with their B button. Once again, that's something that you have to watch out for. These spinning Kongs are getting them punished. And what they're really lacking is a means of stopping that Gordo. The reality is to control the DDD matchup, just send that spike ball flying right back at them. Every single move of DK's is powerful enough to actually counterattack the Gordo. The back air string, though, also does a pretty solid job of it. 62% built up quick.
And you were looking for the grabs. You've already seen quite a few of that to help establish some of this early control. Maybe you can get some more. You can see how much more comfortable Hogwash is looking already, but could get caught there on the edge. This is where you set up and go back to those mistakes of the previous game.
Yeah, I don't know why we gave up stage control like that, but they do manage to regain. Tries to challenge the Gordo, but then thinks better of it. Has the ding-dong combo, and that is going to be kill confirm off the platform of PS2. And with that rage built up, or rather that giant punch built up as well, could manage to get some solid damage here from ledge. There's a lot of extra credit for Walla to get their get back.
I was just going to say that. So far, it's such a better read of kind of what Colville is trying to force Walla into making as a mistake, and instead, DK is able to turn that around, get that tempo back, but maybe get some of that control back too. Now on the ledge, trying to establish that pressure, but goes down instead. Deload, the exact opposite of what you want there is an SD.
The fast fall was just way too much to commit to, and they're trying to take advantage of a habit that you're not seeing this DDD do. They think that they're going to jump every time they get dash attacked, but again, players of this skill caliber know not to jump, but this DK maybe not listening to that memo because they're going to get costed. If they keep jumping every single time they're in hit stun, it's going to end poorly for them. Solid berry, the down tilt, finds the grab, one more ding-dong. This kill confirm is getting so much for Walla.
He's got to keep it up. Got to keep the same reads on. D'Lo, I'm already looking at how stuck we are in the center. The last time that happened, it did not go well for the side of Colville, and they're trying to get something, improve what they've brought tonight. And Walla, this is where they want to be. It seems like the more they brawl, it goes better for Walla, but the more dancey we get, I guess for lack of better terms, that's where it starts to go back to Colville's favor. But this time, maybe you can find it. No, instead, getting sent around.
Look how Lightning Asher's using these platforms. Oftentimes wants to just sit kind of beneath them so that way the Gordo gets rebounded. They don't actually end up taking the damage for it. Giant punch whiffs, but too afraid to challenge. Lightning Asher didn't know what to do, and instead they get struck by their own spike ball.
Close there to being an end. There's that knockback. Now stuck on the side. Can you get back through? All that control on the ledge that we talked about all night. It comes out of this, but you're going to take him down with you.
Dang it, man. Dang it. I was looking to see if Colville could find the comeback on it, but just kind of lost our flow, lost our tempo, I think, a little bit. The fact that this stage is a lot smaller definitely benefits the DK, who wants to close the gap, wants to close the distance. So I imagine the counter pick coming out here from Lightning Asher will favor, could potentially be maybe, what was it? Last time it was Sinnoh, I think. So Final Destination could be an option. Maybe you could try to go for something like a Hollow Bastion. There's some other options there that could favor us a bit more, but when the DK has the space closed, they
look at that. You called it.
Kind of have their day. It makes sense. Final Destination 1, it's the final game of the entire day, so it's literally and figuratively a really thematic pick. But also just grants DK, or rather Meta Knight? Hold on a second. Bit of a change-up coming out from Colville here as we see the Terror of Brawl now step into Smash Ultimate.
My grandfather's roster has no pathetic picks. Maybe this is the go-to at the last second to turn things around. It's kind of a tough going for the start, D'Lo. You've brought attention, and I've noticed all night that it seems like you can take a good read of the game by how we come out of the gate. And the gate might be falling on the head top of Colville early. This DK has established the exact pressure that they want on the exact map that they wanted.
Yeah, gate's closing. Curfew's already been struck. Mom says it's time for bed, but hold on. Meta Knight says, not night, not now.
Dad
Mom.
said I could watch this show first.
Exactly. Family Guy's on, and I've got plans with friends. 125 already built up, but the up air's going to quickly put that to an end. Maybe I will take a little nap. Maybe I'm a bit tired.
Yeah, maybe you're right, Mom. Maybe I shouldn't question you every time.
56% though, not really that much. Meta Knight is based on combos, Anthony, so unlike King DDD, who can really kind of end his stock at any point, Meta Knight's relying on building up a flurry of aerials, and this DK is kind of putting up an iron wall of monkey fist so far. It's been very difficult. A spike as well. This is dangerous.
No room to breathe so far, but looking for that space to work those aerials and those combos out. Maybe finally you have that room to work with, and now that you have a higher percentage onto the DK, is this your chance to bring him down, or are you stuck?
They tried to find the ledge gimp, but instead they actually lost stage control and not getting much mileage for it. This DK is doing a really solid job at evading any of the options that this Meta Knight wants to go for. The maximum tornado does get him off stage, but don't see it at the ledge pressure. There we go. Good grab. Sends him off stage once more, but can't find the kill just yet.
Has to go back, kind of reset, readjust. But when the DK comes back and you still have them in the position you want that's been favorable, you've got some room to breathe and work with. But we've seen how fast the DK can turn it around. And just like that, back to advantage DK, it feels like.
My spinning move could beat up your dad's spinning move. And an amazing clap as well. The F smash sends him off. 3 stocks here. And we should have stuck to the Penguin. Colville, unfortunately, might be calling home sooner than they expected.
Looking for some kind of just fight till the bitter end. We saw before how strong Walla was in these situations and just how clean you can control it, but it looks like Colville still has some fight D'Lo, but do they have enough room to work with?
They've got to get these combos. I need to see a dash attack or a grab from Meta Knight. Those are 2 of the bread and butter starters. There it is. Okay, so down throw into the up tilt. They don't get the extension, though, and that's rough because every interaction should really be getting you about 40% here for this Meta Knight, and the fact that it feels like we're really scrapping for so little means this Meta Knight's not getting the mileage they want to off this character.
It does feel like the second those combos get interrupted, it's just down to a snail's pace, and it seems like DK wants to play at that snail's pace, and honestly, it looks like Hogwash is comfortable there and is able to make the most plays in those situations.
I mean, DK can do in 2 moves what Meta Knight does in 5, and you're seeing right there, every interaction is just more favorable. These trades are not trading. They got the wiggles too. This old man can move. Do not be fooled by that white hair.
There's the bonk now onto the ledge. You have some control back. Or is this that chance for Lightning Asher to make something work for Colville and fight back from the brink? Walla, when he lands down, he's looking comfortable. Gets it down to a 1-1.
I mean, the headbutt did extend the hurt box, I think, so you actually kind of like offered your neck for Meta to slash it off real quick. 133% though, by no means going to be an easy get back here for the Meta Knight. They really got to make sure to stay safe. One berry, they're donezo.
And how hard is it to stay safe when you have to get the combos to get the high percentages? Just like you said,
no!
There's one, but now could be vulnerable and sends himself to the grave. A tough end for Colville. It was looking so clean, D'Lo.
They hedged their bets. They literally said, let it ride on 72 black, and they tried to go for the shuttle loop spin. The corkscrew attack is risky. You go into free fall after that. You don't have any jumps after. You don't have any chance to recover. You're put in free fall. So they literally said, all in. We'll see what my chips can do here. Unfortunately, it came up red, and they busted.
I feel like the big thing we were looking for, and as soon as you pointed it out, you could kind of see the flow. It was, all right, you have to try to extend your combos a little more. So then it was, all right, you can see that Lightning Asher is trying to get in that position to get those combos extended, but because of how slow the DK was able to bring the game, that's where things kind of slowed down. But, D'Lo, the most important thing about those combos is we got to see them. We got a bird's eye perspective about them. And the players got to play, and we all got to watch together. And how is that possible? That's the big thing, right? Because this broadcast is part of LANFEST's Scholastic Esports program, a program that supports this league and many others. Since launching, LANFEST has delivered over 300 broadcasts to Scholastic leagues in Washington and Indiana. We provide these broadcasts free of charge to the league, schools, and the teams that we cover. Your generous donations make this possible, and every $200 raised covers the operating costs for one regular season broadcast.
Just one?
Just one! If you appreciate our work, scan that QR code on your screen and donate today. Do not hesitate, as it makes a big difference. And if you're somebody who's seen what Scholastic Esports can do for a player, just like our wonderful esports teacher in the booth with me, he's over there, he likes to look at me, then you know how important it is to help support it.
Open your hearts and please open your pocketbooks. Overall, Walla going to be able to take this one in a clean sweep. Colville, they get off that one game, you know what? And that's what I asked for. That's what the doctor ordered.
Yes.
It's all about the side quests. I always say whenever you can't get the bigger picture, you can't get the whole enchilada, just get a bite. You know, just get a small bit of the action and work your way up from there. By no means should they feel any sorriness about that because there's a lot to improve from. I'd say if you're looking at Colville's overall game plan, recoverability, consistency,
Yes.
foundations. That's what makes a good Smash Bros. Player. And the tenacity to keep forward after a tough loss like that, that's what makes an amazing esports champion. That being said, that is all we're going to have for you here today on WSSEA Smash Action. Here in the booth, I've been D'Lo, joined by Malum here for the first time on the stage. Please give him his flowers. He did an amazing job. Almighty Eyes in the Sky, Connie Console, as well as Taylor Mo Bugman to keep the prod lights on, that cam steady. Please thank our production for all they do. We cannot yell at games without them. And last, but certainly not least, thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time. We hope you've enjoyed this series just as much as we have. Keep an eye to the sky for more WSSEA action coming at you in the future. And until then, good games and good night.